In programming practice techniques, the second problem is accept two numbers and interchange without using third variable. Generally, nobody can ask by using third variable or without using third variable. Like this, nobody can ask. Generally, they can ask accept two numbers and then interchange. Whatever the logic you can write. According to that, the next question comes into the picture. So anyhow, first of all, you have to know about all the methods because we are in a learning stage. So the first method is using third variable. In this case, what I'm doing. So first of all, you have to think about the according to the guidelines of an algorithm. How many variables are required for this program? And second one is out of n number of variables, how many variables needs an input and needs to initialize. And third one is what are the variables used in process. And fourth point is on what variable base the output is displayed. Here, in this case, in the problem definition itself, it clearly says that accept two numbers and interchange by using third variable. Definitely, this program required three variables. Out of three, the next step you have to think about how many accepted. That also mentioned in the problem definition itself. Accept two numbers. That means out of three, only two are accepted. But all three variables are used in process. To interchange these values, here I'm using one temporary variable. That's why I can take the variable names like this. First number, I can make it as a number one. Second number, I can make it as a number two. And third number, I can make it as a temporary. So either number one or number two, N1 or N2, we can move into the temporary first. According to the first statement, the remaining statements are depends. Now come to this flow chart. So after accepting N1 and N2, for temporary, either you can move N1 or N2. That's as you wish. So there is no compulsory use only temp equal to N1. So based on the first statement, the remaining two statements are different. So in this case, what happened? Whatever the value which is given for N1, that has to be stored in temporary. And the second statement is for the number one, expected value is the value of number two. That's why I've given the statement as the number one equal to number two. Now for the number two, the expected value is from a first number. Now the first number, original number is available in the temporary variable. That's why the last statement is the n2 equal to 10. For example, if I'm taking the n1 and then n2 value, like 10 and then 15, because of the first statement, what happened? The temporary value becomes 10. After that, the second statement is n1 equal to n2, the n1 value becomes 15. And the n2 equal to 10, because of this statement, what happened? The temporary value is a 10 already. That is assigned to the n2. And finally, we're displaying the n1, n2. So this is general expression. Practically, you want to see how this process is going on. Same steps you have to put in a tabular format already told that is called a dry run. For simple programs, you feel that what is this dry run, but it's very useful to find out the logical errors while working with the complex programs in the coming sessions. Now here I'm taking the sample inputs. This logic can be work for any type of values, positive values, negative values. In the first sample input, given the numbers as 16 and then 20. Because of the first statement, what happened? The temporary value becomes 16. And because of second statement, the n1 value becomes 20. And n2 expected value is 16. The 16 is available in the temporary. That's why the statement is n2 equal to temp. And finally, we are displaying the n1 and then n2. And same input we can check with the negative values also. So 34 and then minus 7. The temporary value becomes 34. And after that, because of n1 equal to n2, the minus 7 is assigned to the n1. Now for n2 expected value is the 34 that is available in the temporary. That's why the statement is n2 equal to 10. And finally, you can display the n1 and then n2 values. So in programming practice and techniques, The next problem, that is problem number 3, accept two numbers and interchange without using third variable. Always you have to follow. Whenever the problem comes into the picture, you have to follow the guidelines of an algorithm. The first guy, again I repeat the same thing. How many variables are required for this problem? And the second one is out of n number of variables, how many variables needs an input and needs to initialize. And third one is what are the variable used in the process. If you are not using any variable, you need not declare the variable. And the fourth one is on what variable based the output is displayed. And come to the problem number 3. In the problem definition itself, it clearly says that accept two numbers and interchange without using third variable. It's clear. So you need only two variables. You have to declare only two variables. After that, you can accept the two variables and do the process for interchanging. There are different logics. What are the manipulations? Mostly any program, it depends on the mathematical calculations. Between number 1 and then number 2, you can use any arithmetic operators or any bitwise operators. Roughly, you can do some work how to interchange the values. So generally, students, with my experience, I told, suppose if the n1 value are given it as a 25 and the n2 value is a 38, generally students can find out the difference between n1 and n2. So n1 expected value is 38, so that n1 equal to n1 current value is 25, but n1 expected value is 38. So generally students can find out the difference between these two numbers. That number can be added to the number 1. So that means number 1 equal to 25 and number 2 is 38. What is the difference? The expected value for number 1 is 25. So that simply can add 13 for n1. So n1 equal to n1 plus 13. If you return, what happened? We are getting 38, no problem. It's okay. And for the n2, 38, but the expected value is expected value is 25. In this case, how much? I have to reduce. So 35 minus 38 minus 25. So in this case, what happened? That means n2 minus 35 are written in the formula. That is 38 minus 25, it becomes 30. Values are interchanged up to this numbers only. But same formula. It's not work for other numbers. What is the first formula written? n1 equal to n1 plus 25 and n2 equal to n2 minus 25. So values are interchanged. If it is the 25 and then 38, it's not for other numbers. For example, if I'm taking the n1 value is a 40 and the n2 value is a 57, what happened? If I'm writing the formula n1 equal to n1 plus 25, that is a 40 plus 25, it becomes 65. It's not. So that is not the right logic. Between these two numbers only, with the help of variables only, you have to write an expressions. You can add these two numbers, or you can multiply these two numbers, or you can subtract the numbers from one number to another number, or you can divide, whatever logic it comes into your mind, put on paper. For example, I'll explain with this, the flow chart. So after accepting first statement, return it as n1 equal to n1 plus n2. In this case, what happened? If I'm taking the n1 value is 25 and n2 value is 38, what happened? N1 value becomes 25 plus 38, it becomes 63. And the next statement is n2 equal to n1 minus n2. Now n1 value is n1 value is 63. 63 minus 38. So 63 minus 38. How much you get? 25. Right? And the next step already one value interchange. And the next one is n1 expected value is 38. Now n1 is 63 and the n2 is 25. So because of this, what happened? 63 minus 63 minus 38, it becomes 25. And print n1 and n2 value. So instead of taking random calculations, you can do it in a proper calculations. If you are taking the values in the air, somewhat confusion. So that same thing I will explain with the help of a technique called a dry run. Here. So the n1 value is the 16 and the n2 value is the 20. According to the first expression, n1 value is 16 and the n2 value is 20. 16 plus 20, it becomes 36. Keep this point and keep this value inside. And the next statement, n2 equal to n1 minus n2. So because of the first statement, n1 became 36 and current value of n2 is 20. 36 minus 20 becomes 16. One value is interchange. And we come to the next one, n1 equal to n1 minus n2. The latest value of n1 is 36 and the latest value of n2 is 16. 36 minus 16, it becomes 20. You can display both the values are interchange. Same expression, it will work for numeric values also. That's why I'm taking the second input. One value is 34 and the another value is minus 7. 34 plus of minus 7, it becomes 27. And the next one is, sorry, here it is not 24, it's 27. I put it at 24. And 27 minus of minus 7, it becomes 34. Right. Now, come to the third statement, n1 equal to n1 minus n2. 27 minus 34, it becomes minus 7. So it will work for any type of expression. In the same way, you can try out, instead of plus and minus, you can try out with the multiplication as well as the division.